I'm here with iconic drummer Vinnie Paul. He's here to talk about the new Hell Yeah album.
Hell yeah!
Hell Yeah, Blood for Blood, and also the 20-year anniversary re-release of the PANTERA album,
Far Beyond Driven. See,
yes.
We did that in unison. That was perfect.
Awesome. Let's start with Blood for Blood. I think it's your heaviest album so far, maybe. I don't know what you think, but I think it's pretty heavy.
I think without a doubt it's our best record we've ever made. After making 4 records together, you really know what direction you want to go with the music. I think it's our most mature record as far as the songwriting, the production, everything that went into the record. The first couple records we did, we really wanted to do things that were different from what we did in our previous bands. A lot of people, especially in Europe, didn't understand it. It did really well in the U.S., Canada, and Australia, but over here they're like, oh, it's kind of scattered. It's kind of country, almost bluesy, it's almost rock and roll, it's almost heavy metal, it's a little bit of everything, And once we got that out of our system, we started writing the Band of Brothers stuff and really got back to our roots and made a really, really metal record. And then with this record, we wanted to do a continuation of that, except even heavier, even darker, and deeper as songs, And so we really feel like it's the ultimate Hell Yeah sound and something that we've been looking for a few years, and glad we found it.
Yeah, the lyrics are pretty dark too. There's like very emotional. It's a sentence for every, if I got a dime for every tear I cried, for example. Did you write that? Did Chad?
No, actually, Chad is a really, really great lyricist, and he takes a lot of pride in writing his words, and that the whole topic of Black December came up. It was the last song on the record. It's the last month of the year. It was in December when we were writing and recording it. We had already recorded the music, and Chad was, he was down to his final hair. I mean, he was just like, man, this is the last straw. And there was a lot of things that kept occurring in that month that were really bad, not good, and that's a hard month for me every year because Dime was taken from us December 8th, and John Lennon happened to be the same day, and then Pearl Harbor happened then. I mean, there's just so many dark things that happened during that month, and the inspiration behind the song is that it's supposed to be the happiest month of the year. Fa la 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 la. You got Christmas. You got friends and family. You got the New Year. All this stuff, and then all the hype that comes along with it. And for a lot of people, it's the darkest month of the year. It's really dark. I mean, it's cold. It's snowy. It's winter. They don't have money to supply Christmas gifts for their families. They don't, they don't have families. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where that whole song came from. They come from songs that are personal experiences he had in his life or we've experienced as a band. And you
can relate to what you write as well.
It's very honest.
Well, this is your 4th album in 7 years.
Yeah.
So do you feel like people are starting to get that you're like here to stay?
Yeah, I think all the questions about whether it was just a project or something we did is out the window. People know it's a band and we're serious about what we're doing. And with Pantera, we only had 5 studio albums. I mean, that's all we ever had. That from the Pantera era that people know. And we got 4 in 7 years, and I don't know what the hell that is. That is crazy.
Someone drank a lot.
That's what it was. Bottles. Jeez, it almost sounded like an airplane taking off, but I knew it was a little more familiar.
There's so many rock stars in the building right now. It's just bottles from the.
That was all the bottles from last night at the.
At the Hard Rock. Your bottles. Good.
Cool.
I think that you're probably doing your best drumming on this album since Far Beyond Driven.
Thanks.
It's very. I don't know how to put it in words because I'm not really a drummer myself.
Right.
It's like.
It's more involved.
Exactly.
It's a lot more involved. It's busier. I always try to play drums for the songs. I never want to overplay anything. I want to create the excitement by laying the groove, and whenever it's time for me to shine and do my thing, I do. But I don't want to step on the vocalist or the lead guitar or anything like that. It's all got to work for the song. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of drummers are, man, I'm just going to play everything, and I'm going to be the most badass drummer, and you go, drummer's badass, but where's the songs?
You don't have to try. You're a badass anyway.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you very much. But on this record, the songs were much more intense, and they called for more drumming. And there's a drum thing that I came up with for the song called "Say When,"
Yeah.
which is absolutely the most over-the-top drum thing I've come up with for anything since Far Beyond Driven. And those kind of drum moments only come along so many in your lifetime, so many times, because you only got 2 arms, you only got 2 feet. There's only so many drums you can hit. And,
sounds like you have more.
yeah, well, sometimes it does, but I covered some of that with Pantera. Primal Concrete Sledge was a song that was completely built around the drums. Becoming was completely built around the drums. Those kind of songs. And this song was the first time I really felt like there's a Hell Yeah song that was really built around the drums.
Yeah.
So it's pretty special, and I'm really proud of the way the drums sound on this record. The sonic quality of this record's the best record we've ever made. First time we've ever worked with a outside producer. We worked with Kevin Cherko, who was absolutely awesome to work with. Great ear, great musician himself, and he really helped us get to where we were going with the music.
Well, I've heard it, but not everyone has heard it yet.
Okay.
Very few people have heard it, because this is not released yet. So I can only agree and tell people to definitely check it out when it's released.
Thank you.
And when it comes to the Pantera album, Far Beyond Driven, it was so well received when it came out 20 years ago. And this is your 3rd re-release, right, of an album?
Yeah. Every 20 years they come along, and with Pantera, we would make a record and go tour for 2 years solid and make a record. We never took any time off, and it's pretty much kind of like what I'm doing right now with Hell Yeah. I mean, we're on our 4th record, only 7 years in, so been working hard. But yeah, it was a special record. It was a record that we had gone out and developed the most rabid fan base in the world. We had the first #1 record in the United States ever by a true heavy metal band, and we had no airplay on the radio. MTV hated us and still does. There was no major media that covered the band or anything other than the heavy metal magazines. And our fans went out and spoke and bought 200,000 units that week and made Far Beyond Driven the #1 album in the United States of America. So it was a testament to our fans. And then all of a sudden, Billboard magazine says, "Overnight sensation, Pantera." I'm like, bullshit. We played nightclubs for 7 years trying to get a record deal before that. And then with Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, it was 4 years of nonstop touring around the world and really building our fan base without those other forms of media that most bands counted on back then.
And you did that really well. I mean, it's been 10 years, or over 10 years, since the band ceased to exist, but you still have a really solid and true fan base.
It's bigger now than it was then.
It's pretty crazy.
And the only reason why is because it's accepted now. It's you can hear it on the radio now.
Yeah.
Back then, no way. You can see our videos now. You can, it's amazing. You go to a sporting event and they play Pantera songs. They wouldn't touch it back then. It was like deemed scary music.
Your father was a professional musician, right?
Yep.
How did that influence you in your?
Well, he had a big influence on what happened to me as a drummer.
Yeah.
My dad's a country music songwriter and musician, and he used to play a lot of nightclub gigs when I was a kid. And I signed up for band when I was going to 7th grade, 14, and I went there, and we were all sitting around. The band director started passing out instruments to everybody, and he came over to me and handed me this big ass thing called the tuba, and I went, fucking A. They want me, believe this or not, believe this or not, believe this or not, believe this or not. They want me to be the fucking tuba player of the band, and I was really, really excited about it. And I took it home for lunch. And
you were excited?
Yeah,
really?
Man.
Okay.
They picked me, the only guy to play tuba. All the other ones had 5 or 6 saxophone players, 5 or 6 clarinet players, and
I played clarinet. It sucks.
I brought it home, and my dad had played the night before and didn't get in until 3 o'clock in the morning, and usually didn't like being woke up till in the afternoon, and I had forgotten completely about it. And I'm in the living room, and I'm blowing on this thing as hard as I can go, and it's making all this hideous noise and all this stuff, and my dad comes running around the corner in his tighty-whities underwear, and comes around and he goes, "Son, what are you doing?" I said, "Dad, man, I'm going to be a fucking tuba player." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, man, they want me to be the tuba player for the band." And this is his exact words. He goes, "Son, You will never make a penny playing that instrument in your entire life. I'm taking you back up to the school and putting you on the fucking drums. And I mean, I literally started crying. But Dad, they want me to be the tuba player. And so he dragged me in the car and took me back up there, and I was all embarrassed and mad. And he went in and had it out with the band director, and they came over and handed me a pair of drumsticks and a practice pad. And my dad changed the course of heavy metal drumming history by taking me back up to the school. So thank you, Dad. I appreciate that. And if that wouldn't have happened, I could guarantee I still would have ended up being a badass bass player. So,
why not a badass tuba player?
Well, you start with a tuba, but like my dad said, you'll never make a penny playing.
You should have a tuba on your next album, maybe like a.
Nah.
No,
that's something that's in my past and has been forgotten about a long time ago. But it's a great story and it's the fucking truth, and I really appreciate my dad doing that for me. And then.
Many people do, I think.
My brother started on the drums too, right shortly after that.
Yeah.
And it's the old Eddie and Alex Van Halen story. I got better than him, and I wouldn't let him play it anymore. So my dad got him a guitar, and I used to walk past his bedroom to get to my bedroom as fast as I could when I got off school because I wanted to play my drums. And I would walk by his room, and I'd look in there, and he would be with his foot propped up on the desk and have his guitar that my dad got him, which was a Honer Les Paul. And he had his Ace Frehley makeup on, and he'd be making all the faces. Yeah, and I'd walk by, and I was like, dude, are you ever going to learn how to play that thing? Don't worry about it. And I'd walk by, and this went on for 3 or 4 weeks, and one day he comes in the room when I was playing drums. He goes, hey, man, you want to jam? And I said, jam? What do you mean? He goes, yeah, man, you want to jam? And I said, you can play that? I kind of giggled at him.
Yeah.
And he goes, check it out. And he brought his little pig nose amp that was about this big and his guitar, and he plugged it in. And he goes, dun, 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 dun. And I went, holy shit. And we kicked in and started playing. And we played that riff for probably 10 hours nonstop. And from that point on, I knew we were going to play music, and I knew we were going to play in a band together. And it was just, it was magic from that point on.
Yeah, it sounds magical.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is the biggest thing that you have done in your musical career? If it was all... And, right now, what would that be?
Well, this is hard for a lot of people to understand, but I don't live in the past.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for telling your stories. And thank you for watching. And check out the new Hell Yeah album,
Blood for Blood.